Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today for stained glass window clings craft time. Today we're going to be making something similar to this, which is pretty cool. You can see that it's all colorful, light can filter through, it looks like stained glass, you can put it on your window and the sun can come in and make all kinds of different colors. So that's pretty cool, we're going to be doing that today. Before we get there though, if you haven't signed up for summer reading just yet, there's still plenty of time. Go to longbeach.beanstack.org. Create your account, start logging your reading every day, and then that way you can be entered into our weekly gift card drawings, and you can also have a chance to win big in the grand prize drawing at the end of the summer. You can read, complete activities, write book reviews for points, and those points are really going to be what gets you into the drawings. Okay? If you already signed up, enter the code COBALT into the activities tab of your Beanstack Challenge to be able to earn a point for watching this video and crafting with us today. And yeah, man, that's all I got. So get a little closer. I'll go over the materials for this craft, and then we'll get crafting. Okay? Okay, so we're going to show you how to make these stained glass window clings, and what you're going to need are a couple of things. First and foremost, you're going to need some black construction paper. We're using black because it looks best when you know, it blocks out light really well, but you can actually use any color you like. Black just blocks out light really well, so when you put it on the window, it actually looks like the lead in between actual stained glass. So some black construction paper or any color that you have. We also have this sheet of sticky paper, and what it actually is it's a sheet of sticky plastic that has a paper cover on it. So this is really what's going to hold our stained glass together. You can see I can peel it back, and there's a little bit of a sticky plastic there. One of the sides is sticky and one of the sides is not. So we'll talk about how to use that. You're also going to need pieces of cellophane. So we've got green, yellow, red, blue, and like a pink color. You also probably have a purple one if you managed to pick up one of the kits from the library. I just don't have it here with me right now. If you didn't pick up a kit from the library, you can find any of this stuff online or probably at Michael's or Joann or any place like that. If you did pick up a kit and you really like this craft and you want to order more supplies, you can definitely find this stuff online or at one of the craft stores that I mentioned. These we're going to use to actually color our design. So I'll show you sort of some of the finished products that we have before we get crafting. Here, one of my colleagues made a butterfly. So you can see that the butterfly has the outline, which was made with the black construction paper, and then all the inside parts were made with strips of colored cellophane that she layered on the sticky paper. My colleague, Jessica, also made a kite, and so the kite, you can see, has the outline in black. It has a little tail in black, and the inside looks like this geometric pattern of, you know, the cellophane, which is pretty cool. You can see that it actually reflects the light because of the sticky paper, but you can also see the light filtering through from the bottom through the cellophane. So it looks really cool. So you can choose to make your own design like one of these two, or today I'm going to make a little bit of an abstract stained glass design. So you can do what I'm doing, or you can think up a design for yourself to make. But take a second now to think about the kind of design that you want to make, whether it's an animal or whether you just want to make an outline, a smiley face. Really, you can make anything you want. But you're going to have to think about it beforehand because you have to cut out the black construction paper to you know, reflect that design. Okay? So first off, one of the things that I think we're going to do is, because we only have one sheet of this sticky paper, I'm going to cut the construction paper and the sticky paper down to size. Okay? We're going to need 2 layers of sticky paper to sandwich the, what's it called? The cellophane in between. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut off the extra black construction paper like this. And then I'm going to cut off this last little strip here on this side, just so that we make sure to not make a design that's too big for our sticky paper. So these 2 things I'm going to put aside. I might use them later. I'm not sure yet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my black construction paper in half. Why am I folding my black construction paper in half? So that I have enough enough sticky paper to actually make a design. And then I'm going to cut it in half. You can see on one of the designs that my coworker made that this front part has sticky paper and the back part has sticky paper. So we actually need to make a sandwich of sticky paper to hold the cellophane in place, which means that we're going to need 2 pieces of sticky paper, and since we only have 1 sheet, we're going to cut this bad boy in half, okay? Now that I've got my black construction paper in half, I'm going to use one of these halves to cut the sticky paper in half. And then I'll know that I have enough sticky paper to make a sandwich that's going to hold the cellophane in place. Okay? So now I've got 2 sheets of sticky paper that I can put aside for now since we won't need it right away. And I've got this black construction paper. So what I think I'm going to do is probably cut a border of black paper and then use my other sheet of black paper to cut in the lines in between. So I'll show you what I mean. I want this to have a black border along the edge, so I'm going to use this one to make the border. And how am I going to do that? I'm probably going to fold this in half and then cut a frame, almost like a picture frame, out of that half. Now at this point, maybe if you decided that you wanted to make like a butterfly design or a smiley face design, you're going to want to cut out the appropriate pieces of black construction paper to make that design, right? My design is going to be super simple. I just need this black frame that I'm going to put onto the sticky paper. And then I'm going to cut this into strips that I can then lay across the frame in shapes to make, you know, a stained glass window per se, okay? Take a second now if you want, pause the video, think about your design, and how you're going to make it out of the black construction paper and how it's going to lay onto the sticky paper. So take a second now, do that. I'm going to keep crafting, but you go ahead and take a second to think about that. So I have my frame, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut strips of black paper to make sort of like the different pieces of lead that might be in my stained glass window. If you are choosing to make an animal or a smiley face or a cheeseburger, now you want to cut little pieces of black paper that are going to allow you to make that design. Oh, I should have made a cheeseburger. That would have been a good idea. So I think I'm going to do this. Okay, so I think I have enough pieces of black strips here. And what I'm going to do is peel off the paper on my sticky paper to start laying down my design in black construction paper. So this part you have to be very, very careful with because you only get 1 shot at it. So I'm laying down my sticky paper. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it's right here. And then I'm going to carefully, very carefully lay down my frame of black construction paper. I think I'm going to do this from the corners first. There we go. And then very carefully lay down the rest of it. And you want to press it down lightly so that it sticks to the paper. You can see here that I have a little bubble right there that I had to crunch, and that's okay. So now I have this. What I'm going to do now is lay down these to make a design. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll lay down one from here, like that, and then I'll lay down another piece from there. So you can see that what I'm doing is I'm just basically laying down pieces of black construction paper and sticking them to the sticky paper in the design that I want them to look like, right? So I've got these 2 little segments here. I'm going to keep going until I fill up this whole thing, okay? And then we'll keep crafting after that. I'll show you what to do with the cellophane. Okay, so I'm going to take a second to talk about this. I was cutting this piece and it kind of fell on the sticky paper, and now I can't take it off because it's going to leave construction paper residue on the sticky paper. I don't know if you see that right there, but that's going to show up if I try to take it off. So be very careful as you cut, because if it falls accidentally on the sticky paper, you're kind of stuck with where it is a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll with the punches here, and I'm going to cut this as if I meant to put that there. And there we go. I don't think it looks terrible, but we'll see. So keep cutting. Okay, so I think I'm done. I'm going to move aside my scraps of black paper. This is a pretty simple stained glass design. It's very geometric. It's really just triangles and you know, squares, I guess. You can kind of see, if I get it closer maybe, that there is sections where the paper is overlapping a little bit, like right here and over here. That's okay, because you're going to put sticky paper on top of it anyway, so it's not a huge deal if the black paper overlaps with itself. You can also kind of see that I cut these at angles to try to make them fit nicely on there. You can do that if you'd like to, or not. It's not a big deal, because either way we're going to put a sticky paper over it. So now we have all of these little sections in between the black construction paper that are still sticky. These parts of black paper are not sticky, they're covering up the stickiness, but these little sections where there's places to put cellophane are where we're going to cut the cellophane to fit, okay? So now bring out the pieces of colored cellophane that you have, and you're going to choose where you want certain colors. Some of them you can just put the straight piece of cellophane on there because maybe you want that spot to be red. In other places, you can even mix them. So for example, if you want an orange spot, you could layer 2 pieces of cellophane to make an orange color, right? Or maybe you want, I don't know, a purple. You either have purple cellophane, or you can layer pink and blue together to make sort of like a purplish color, okay? Or even red and blue to make a darker purple. So now you want to experiment a little bit. You also have to keep in mind that light is going to be coming through this. So, you know, try to play with it so that you don't layer too many pieces of cellophane together and then light can't actually filter through. So now I'm going to start cutting cellophane to fit these little pieces. And it doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be perfect, because either way, the black is going to cover up any overflow, okay? So you can see I'm going to try to aim this cellophane, like let's say I want this corner blue. I'm going to try to cut it so that it just fits there, and then that way I don't waste too much cellophane on one piece, if that makes sense. So look, I cut that to kind of fit that thing, and then I'm going to layer it very, very carefully, and then stick it down to the piece that's there. And so you can see now that that piece is going to show up blue when the sunlight filters through. Do you see that? I'll do another one. So let's say I'm going to try to get this one yellow, this little triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that corner sort of on top there just to get a measurement, and then I'm going to cut off the corner to make it so that I can lay this down on that triangle, and that triangle is going to show up yellow for us. See that? So now I have this blue corner and this little yellow triangle over here, and you're just going to keep doing that until you fill up all of the different gaps that you have in your sticky paper. Don't be scared to mix colors. Don't be scared to layer colors on top of each other. I'll show you what my colleague Jessica did with this kite. So if you can see the kite, she actually, I'll put this piece of white under here so you can see a little better. She actually layered cellophane pieces on top of each other, little bits, to form new colors, to form shapes that overlap. It looks really cool when the light shines through. So don't be scared to do different designs with the cellophane too. It's really all about you being creative and choosing to make something that you think is cool and that you want to put on the window. So I'm going to keep cutting cellophane. You go ahead and keep doing that. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a break, or get some water, or put on some music, or use the restroom, or read a book real quick, you know? It's up to you. But I'm going to keep crafting. You can also cut a piece of cellophane. As you can see, I cut this one already and I'm laying it down, but I'm seeing that it's a little too big. So before I finish laying it down, I'm just going to cut it a little bit more so that it actually fits nicely. So now it fits. Another technique you could do is actually put down the cellophane and then cut around it. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to aim for this one right here with the yellow paper, or with the yellow cellophane, sorry. So I'm going to lay down the piece of cellophane and I'm actually going to stick it to the contact paper, the sticky paper. And you can see it's actually stuck, right? So now I'm going to trim it. Now that I know where it is and it's actually stuck perfectly to the thing, I'm very carefully going to cut the cellophane so that it can lift off. So that's another technique you could do too. Okay, so I think I am done with what I've got going on here. As you can see, I've got a lot of cellophane left over, so if I wanted to make another one of these bad boys, if I found a sticky sheet somewhere, I definitely could do that. There's plenty of cellophane left over. So, you know, put it away somewhere where, you know, maybe you'll use it for another project or for another craft project. And then that way we don't waste cellophane, and, you know, it's a little better for the planet, I guess, to just save as much as possible. So I'm going to put that aside. I've got this here. My design is pretty much finished. This is kind of what it looks like from the inside, but from the back side, look at how cool that is, right? You can just see the light filtering through. And so now the last step is to sandwich it with the other sheet of sticky paper. So we had cut it in half, remember? And now we're going to use this other sheet of sticky paper to actually put on top of this and finish up the design. So I'm going to carefully peel this off and put it on top. So now I've got this other sheet of sticky paper. This sticky side is there, so I'm going to very carefully try to put this on top and aim it so that it lands as close as possible to my design. And if you miss it a little bit, that's okay, because you can always trim it down. And next you want to press out any bubbles that might be in there. Nice and hard. Do you remember my bone folder from the earlier video? I'm going to use that bad boy again. It's super handy to really press down and make sure that everything is stuck together nicely. If you don't have a bone folder, you can always use a pencil or a pen or really anything that's, you know, got a smooth surface like this to press down and make sure that everything is stuck together nicely, because you'll be able to see bubbles and stuff from the other side. So you just want to make sure that everything is stuck together really nicely, and you know, you've gotten rid of as many bubbles as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I've pressed out as many bubbles as I can. You know, I could keep going, but who has the time, right? So I'm gonna leave this like the way it is, but I wanna trim down some of the edges because you can see that where the sticky paper and the black construction paper didn't all the way line up. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim down about half the thickness from each side to make it look nice and flush and beautiful. And you can do that if you find that the edges don't always match up, but if you were really good about aiming the sticky paper and the construction paper, you probably are going to be just fine. Or if your black design is smaller than the sticky paper, you're probably going to be just fine too. You just have to trim down the sticky paper a tiny bit around the edge to make sure that it lines up with the black. Okay, and then I might do a little bit of bone folding too on the front. And there you have it, a faux stained glass window. Or maybe you made something different. Maybe you made a kite or a cheeseburger or a butterfly or a cheeseburger, you know? It just depends on what you want to make. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Good job. All right, everybody, that's pretty much it. We're done with our stained glass window clings. Or if you're still working, that's totally okay. You can keep working. I made a super simple one. It's just shapes and colors, which is really cool. But if you wanted to get fancy mixing the cellophane colors or layering them on top of each other like my coworkers did with the butterfly and the kite, that's all up to you. It's your world. It's all about being as creative as you want to be. Okay, so the final step for this is to put it on the window with a little bit of tape and just look at it and how pretty it is when the sunlight filters through. It lands on a table or a book or, you know, your desk or whatever, and you can see all the different colors that are landing of light on the surface. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Enter the code COBALT into the activity tab of your challenge to be able to earn a point for crafting with us, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.